like to introduce our guest speaker today, Connecticut Governor Malloy. We're honored that you could join us today. And we look forward to working with you, your administration, and the new Insurance Commissioner, Tom Malloy.
He gets his picture taken with everybody. He's the president now. Oh, here, I want this for my collection. Hey, listen, it's great to be with everyone. I have been at a few insurance events while I was running for governor, and since I was elected governor, and one of those before I was sworn in, and a couple since I've been sworn in. It's a great honor to be in a room with people who make their living the way my dad made his living, selling insurance. That agency that my dad started or joined back in 1946 still lives on through my brother Bill, who's here. Many of you know my brother Bill Malloy, and my nephew Matthew. Where is Matthew? Matthew, this is an interesting story. I walk into the room here, and my brother Bill is walking in with me. And who do I see at the bar but my nephew Matthew? So, it's good to be with you all. You know, I've said this before, and I want to say it again. In my opinion, Connecticut has long, at its own peril, ignored the insurance industry. After all, one of the preeminent industries in the state of Connecticut. And I think that's emblematic of a broken state government that was more inclined to take people and things for granted than it was to understand who their strategic partners were and how they needed to treat their strategic partners and make sure that they were receiving the care and treatment that they needed to receive. That played itself out over more than a generation of Connecticut losing its preeminence or its exclusive stature as the insurance capital of the world, and gave, I think, rise to the growing industry in Des Moines, Iowa, for instance, and the growing industry in South Dakota, and the outplacement of many jobs to other parts of the country that otherwise could have, should have, and hopefully someday will be returned to Connecticut. Could have and should have stayed here or been born here. You know, I happened to meet a guy yesterday, a new insurance company, Sparta Insurance, 55 employees in Hartford now, relatively new, just started a few years ago. But we got involved in this conversation about what's wrong with Connecticut, and I pointed out to him that Vermont has now seen 1,000 captive insurance companies chartered to zero in the same period of time in Connecticut. And he said, oh yeah, well, we go to Vermont or offshore to do our captive insurance companies. And yet no one in state government has asked, what is it about these other places, including our neighbors to the north in Vermont, that make that a more advisable place to do that business. And so now we're going to ask that question. We're going to figure it out and hopefully make it easier for a captive to be created here in the state of Connecticut. We are in discussions with a number of our, what I call traditional lines insurance, the travelers of the world. I've had many meetings with them in the short time that I've been governor, making sure that we're attentive to that industry. I've also reached out aggressively in the health insurance industry and had meetings with Cigna and Aetna and United, and making sure that we are, and Magellan, making sure that we are, again, representing to those industries our intention to return insurance as a growth industry in Connecticut. And I'm committed to doing that. And I'm committed because I know what insurance can do for a family. Our family, my dad's business and my mother's participation as a nurse was enough to pay for the education of 8 children We have many jobs in this state that are insurance-based directly or agent-based, and we need to make sure that we're paying attention to this industry. That's why I was happy to name an insurance commissioner who has an extensive history in the insurance industry, and hopefully at a future meeting of yours, he'll be meeting with you. I think he's still going through the approval process and had to appear before a committee today, and I think that that's why he's not here. But we will make him available. He'll want to be available to you at future meetings. But I didn't just stop there. The new DECD, Department of Economic Development head, is a woman by the name of Kathy Smith, who is coming off leading ING in North America. And reporting directly to her, 3,000 ING employees, many of them housed in their recently moved into headquarters outside of Hartford. That too is meant to be a very strong demonstration to the insurance community that we intend to right our relationship with the industry here in Connecticut.